G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Super Rugby, Super Saturday, Super Fail. I actually can't believe how much of a failure this Super Round actually is turning out to be. It's actually blowing my mind how stupid the people are that organize this shit. Okay? Just think about it for a second. You had an opening test match yesterday with two New Zealand teams, and that match had more viewers than this Saturday night main event between the Drua and the Waratahs. Okay? They had Moana Pacifica against the Chiefs before this, right? Saturday night in Melbourne. I don't know about you, how many people it's going to be able to fly in from New Zealand or Fiji to support their teams on a Saturday night in Melbourne, right? You know how expensive it is to get accommodation on a Saturday night? And you put two of the teams, right? You set them up, the two new teams, you set them up to fail at prime time on Saturday night, and you wonder why the stadium is so empty? Okay? Just the stupidity of this. And you have Brumbies versus the Blues tomorrow at lunchtime. Yeah, tomorrow lunchtime, the biggest match everybody wanted to see is tomorrow lunchtime. Where most people probably rushing to the airport to get home, right? And it's just unbelievable how stupid these people are. I mean, let's just imagine for a second, right? If this Super Round is played in Sydney or Brisbane, let's say Sydney, okay? Because I'm biased. Let's say Sydney. And then the opening match, instead of Waratahs versus Honduras on Saturday, Waratahs versus Crusaders. And then you have the Blues versus the Brumbies on the second match of the night. The stadium would have been sold out. You would have been sold out last year when you announced this garbage. Right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard to make money. Rugby Australia. It's not that hard to make money in Rugby New Zealand. I know you're like struggling financially. It's not that hard. And then you can have like Honduras and what do you call it, Moana Pacifica on Friday. And have whoever left over on Sunday, and don't make him play against one of the favorites in the world, so they get blown up, right? Make them play teams that's contested, that they have a chance of beating, right? Like, it's just so stupid. Nobody wanted to see this. There's two blowout games on a Saturday night in Melbourne, okay? I mean, there's no, who's going to be able to afford to fly into Melbourne, one of the most expensive cities in Australia, to watch this? To watch their own teams get blown up? Like, unbelievably stupid. Like, it's not that hard to make money, right? I mean, it's not that hard, right? Even if you don't put Crusaders versus the Waratahs or something big like that, surely you put the Brumbies and the Blues in this Saturday night, right? Surely. And you probably put the Melbourne team before, instead of yesterday on a Friday night, you put the Melbourne team beforehand, so then they'll be actually potentially sell out as well, because you have the locals for the Melbourne team, and then you have a big match between the Blues and the Brumbies. Everybody wants to stay after to watch, right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And these people get paid money to work at, Rugby Australia, to work at Rugby New Zealand. Can't figure this out. Anyway, let's talk about this game. To be fair, I was amazed, by how good the Drua is in this game. For about, I would say, 50 minutes, the Waratahs was just completely got blown out of their rhythm, because the Drua just physically bashing them, absolutely belting the Waratahs. And Waratahs was dropping the ball, just penalties given away, getting turned over, the breakdowns. Just really not able to cope with the physicality. The Waratahs was looking like a more structured team, did look better at the set piece, and it was just not working because the Honduras just we know what we want to do, and we know, this is what we're good at. Big hard hitting, big, running game, ball flowing, flowing 7 style rugby, and that's what they did. And they were hanging in there for most part of the game against basically half the Wallabies team, right? And this was really, all the way to like in the second half when the Drua unfortunately had a yellow card to their hooker, and that resulted in going into uncontested scrums, which leaving the Waratahs playing against 13 players because initiating uncontested scrums it's actually you actually lose a player for you're actually gonna lose an extra player for initiating uncontested. It's like basically a penalty on top of you initiating uncontested scrum. So Endurance went down to 13 players as a result of that against and then that's when the Waratahs really start blowing away the Endurance. With that, if that yellow card hasn't given out, the Endurance was really hanging in there, and was something that I was like, oh, maybe if the Waratahs reserves comes on, if they can't keep up the intensity, potentially the Endurance could snatch that one, towards the end of the match if they were able to hang in there. But yeah, this was, I mean, a lot closer than the scoreboard has shown. A lot more credit should be given to the Endurance. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's really unfortunate the way it turned out, to be fair. But let's have a look at some of the stats of the match, right? 387 run meters for the Endurance, 582. A lot of that run meters for the Waratahs came at the second end of the second half when the Endurance literally had 13 players on the field. 20 defenders beaten for both teams, so you can tell the Endurance was able to get more out of the opportunities they were given than the Waratahs, right? More run meters for Waratahs, but only beating 20 defenders, and the Endurance running game was much better. Turnovers conceded 15 and 14, pretty even overall. Tackle count, 143 tackles of Endurance, 20 missed tackles. Waratahs, 126. Fewer tackles had to be made, but missed more tackles. So the Endurance actually done better in defense as well, fronting up those tackles. Kicking game, the Waratahs did win that a little bit. 22 kicks for the Waratahs to the Endurance 17. And then lineouts, like I said, the Waratahs set piece with a lot of the Wallabies players in the team was able to spoil a few of the Endurance lineouts. The lineouts has always been an issue for the Endurance team since last year. And it's just something that's kind of like you just need to work on it as a team. And the Waratahs obviously has more experience in that regard. Was able to spoil a few. Endurance was able to get one spoil out of the Waratahs, but overall the Waratahs did have set piece dominance. The scrum as well, I thought the Waratahs were more dominant despite not able to win a tight head. The Endurance was able to, went to uncontested scrum after the yellow card was given. And as a result, the Waratahs really wasn't able to, basically for about 10 minutes, the scrums was uncontested, so the Waratahs really were not able to kind of like push that advantage a bit further. Penalty count, Endurance 13 to the Waratahs 11. There were some points in earlier in the game where the Waratahs were just like under a lot of pressure and were just throwing away a lot of penalties. It's only late in the second half when the Endurance really starting to slip away with that penalty count. 2 yellow cards. I thought it was only 1 yellow card, and there was second one that was player sent off as a result of going to uncontested scrum, which was not a yellow card. But anyway, it is what it is. 17 points to 46. Some of the tries. So Parecki, the hooker, gets in the set piece try early for the Waratahs. Donaldson gets his first try into the corner in the second. So the first half, it was 1 try apiece, right? So Parecki gets a try. Tamani also gets a try. I think pretty sure Tamani's try was also a more try. The Endurance just like peeled off the side. It was nicely executed more. Tamani just saw the number 9, Jay Gordon, standing by himself, barged himself in for the try. So halftime, only 1 try apiece for both teams. I think the halftime score was 10 all. So 1 penalty each, 1 try each. It was 10 all. But second half, the Endurance come out, gets the first try on the board, and it was just like, okay, if the Endurance can lift intensity in the second half, which they did, they could potentially steal this one. And then, they did come out really looking good, gets a try on the board, 2 minutes into the game. Waratahs fights back. Again, the Waratahs were struggling to find the structure a little bit, finally getting a bit more rhythm, getting Donaldson into the corner for his first try of his career, in fact, for the Waratahs. And then the game, again, it's just like the Endurance game plan was just like trying to disrupt the Waratahs with big hard hits, and the Waratahs really was not coping yet. But slowly but surely, the fatigue starts kicking in, and the Waratahs was able to eventually, despite a lot of small handling errors, eventually tighten up the gameplay and really get those handlings in place. 56 minutes in, Gleeson goes in for the third try for the Waratahs. Waratahs started putting away, and then after this try was scored, basically the Endurers had a yellow card and goes down to 13 players. As a result, I can't contest the scrum. And then the Waratahs runs away with the game. Edmund gets his first try on the ball, 61 minutes. Jorgensen, 16 minutes, immediately another try, basically. And then the Wagani Tawasi was able to run into the corner, bumped through a stretch defense for the last try for the Waratahs, 73rd minute. And that's it. That is what it is. The Waratahs really, once that yellow card was given, and the scrum went uncontested, and the Fijian Drua lost 2 players. Yeah, the writing was on the wall. All credits to the Endurers for hanging in there, but it is what it is. I really felt like, for Super Round, a round where you wanted to promote these teams, you wanted to put them against a team that's probably, based on the results of last year, probably a more evenly matched team than the Waratahs. But yeah, it is what it is. Endurers really, swung for the fences and hang in there for quite a long time before the Waratahs, eventually put away. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about this game, guys. Let me know your thoughts about the Super Round fail. I don't know what I have to say. Can't be that hard to make money, right? Come on. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys tomorrow.